Tigers time on offense. Now they'll motion Lacey back to the right side of the formation. Here's the snap. Pump fake by Nussmeier. He's going to throw towards the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! Fighting Tigers! Tigers win! Tigers win! In the right corner of the end zone. 25-yard strike to Kyron Lacey. And the Tigers indeed walk it off here at Tiger Stadium with a 29-26 victory in overtime. And now the students have stormed the field. What an incredible night, celebrating 100 years at Tiger Stadium. And as it should be, LSU gets the win in overtime, 29-26 over the Ole Miss Rebels. Brian Kelly now 13-0 here at LSU on Saturday nights in Death Valley.
And we say good morning to you. Good afternoon when you get a chance to see this, a Tuesday edition of Tigers Roar in our new little setup in studios. We apologize for having a little bit of a transition with some of our new studio being built. So as always, Buddy Songy in the house, Jonathan Poche behind the scenes, pushing all of the right buttons. We hope all of you are doing well on this Tuesday, October 15th. You saw Purple Rain. I played Purple Rain by Prince on my radio show last week. Well, folks, the stadium, the wristbands, the purple lights, and the same old stuff. Ole Miss comes in here and doesn't get it done. LSU didn't play their best, especially on offense, but Nuss with two incredibly clutch throws. When you see the replay on the touchdown to Aaron Anderson, it is a thing of beauty, and it is a thing of confidence, moxie, poise, and that's what you get with Garrett Nussmeier. Yes, you're going to get some INTs, but once again, LSU and Nuss leading the SEC with 18 touchdown passes, 3 on Saturday night against that really good Ole Miss defense. And, of course, he did have a couple of picks, so 18-6 touchdowns to INTs. And as most of you know, this has been the common practice of what LSU has done to Ole Miss. They hadn't lost to Ole Miss in Tiger Stadium since 2008. Brian Kelly is a perfect 3-0 at Tiger Stadium on Saturday night. Folks, I've got some stats for you here. Brian Kelly now 3-1 against top 10 teams in Tiger Stadium. 0-3 since he's been here on the road in 2 neutral sites. Of course, lost the SEC championship game to Georgia when they were number 1 in 2022. Lost the openers to Florida State and New Orleans and Orlando. But 3-1 at home. And as we know, Ole Miss came in here as a top 10 team once again, and the Tigers took the Rebels down 29-26 in overtime. A lot to recap, and let's go without further ado and bring in our co-host. He's actually the host. I'm the analyst, but we've been kind of changing up the roles. Look, we're audibleizing. I know it's mid-season, but we're getting some things plugged in here, so bear with us. You know, I'm not much to look at, and we know that I'm a radio guy, but we do the Facebook and the YouTube and the TikTok and all the other stuff because that's what you got to do with media today. And we couldn't do it without all the great help from Marty, our main engineer, and Jonathan Poche, the man who pushes all the right buttons. JP, happy Tuesday morning for you. And how are you doing, sir? Man, I know it was a long weekend, long day. Tigers get the victory. And what about that defense, JP?
Yeah, and it was a great day of football across the board. A lot of great games all over the place, Bud, man. You talk about LSU, Ole Miss, the Red River rivalry between Oklahoma and Texas. Then, of course, you had Oregon beating Ohio State. So a lot of great football. Of course, Nussmeier put the team on his back, did what he had to do at the end. It wasn't the prettiest game for Nuss, but they will certainly take the W. That defense, You talk about Whit Weeks getting 18 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and forced a fumble. Before the game, I was on Chris Power's show. I told him I thought LSU had a good chance to beat Ole Miss, not only because it was Saturday night in Death Valley, but coming off of the bye week, the open week, Blake Baker had all kinds of time to get into that film room and dial up some exotic blitzes, and they certainly paid off when that LSU Tiger defense was sacking Jackson Dart.
18 tackles was something everybody should know now. Braden Swinson, once again, D lineman of the week. He's been fantastic. 7 sacks for the year now. And Braden Swinson is definitely on his way to making first team All-SEC. There's a lot of great edge rushers in the conference. Braden Swinson has been phenomenal. We talked this guy up in the spring. We talked him up. And right before the start of the season, everybody should know, I'm superstitious with 13. Braden Swinson got out of that number 13, took 4. That's what Perk was wearing before he got 7. And he's been fantastic. And look, next time we talk to you, we'll talk about the numbers that he possibly could end up with. But JP, one thing about this game, it's always got tradition. It's always got history. I want to say something right out of the gate because I've heard some media reports. And in the game of football, not always does the best team win. A lot of people apologize and acting like Ole Miss coulda, shoulda, woulda win. Yeah, but you know how many championships Lane Kiffin has? No, that's not love. That's 0. Freaking 0. This is why the people in Oxford are now saying the F-bomb. No, not the 4-letter F-bomb, but the 5-letter. Fraud. Is he a fraud? He's a great play caller. He's great on Twitter. But once again, second time in 2 years, comes into Baton Rouge. And look, they had a really good team, but we cannot say enough about Blake Baker, the defensive coordinator. He should get every bit of praise that people are extolling his way. We said last week a couple different times on all our shows that this could be the game that Blake Baker is known for. They were disguising, they were blitzing, they were showing one thing and changing right when the ball was snapped. If you heard BK yesterday, and we'll have a little bit of that. We've also got highlights for the game that we'll show you. Look, I'm not going to put the Saints sunglasses on today, but they looked had a terrible start, got down 17-0, came back like a ball of fire, but then didn't score a point in the second half. Unfortunate that our friends down the road, 60 miles away, are struggling with all their injuries. But a great game, and as we know, folks, this conference has so much parity. If you, like me, you watched Alabama struggle to cover the spread, and they didn't. They held on to beat South Carolina 27-25. The Red River Shootout, once again proving that Texas is the cream of the crop in the SEC right now as they take Oklahoma out back with a big dominating win. And then you get into the night games. I was watching 2 games, but obviously I'm not going to miss the play of the LSU Ole Miss game. But Oregon and Ohio State had another thriller. Oregon comes back to win in the last 30 seconds to beat them by 1. So now all of a sudden, with all of the upsets, LSU sitting at number 8 in both polls this week. But if you look outside, it's cloudy on this Tuesday morning. And JP, one thing that we know is that this is the proverbial trap game. Ole Miss was playing their second consecutive game on the road against LSU. LSU will now go back-to-back on the road. It starts at Arkansas. JP, Bobby Petrino calling all array plays. They spent a lot of money with defensive transfer portal guys. This, to me, looks like the best Arkansas team that I've seen that Sam Pittman has had. Big challenge, 6 o'clock, about 6:05 kick on ESPN. And JP, another weekend of blockbuster games. Alabama at Tennessee, LSU at Arkansas, and then the late one on ABC kicks at 6:45, Georgia at Texas. JP, we talked about it. Texas is the only undefeated team left, it is going to be tough for them to go unscathed. But are you surprised that the SEC teams are beating up each other the way they are?
Not really surprised, Bud, man. I mean, there's so much money invested in all of SEC football. It's not just the top 2 programs anymore. Not really surprised, but it has been very fun to watch. Of course, it feels like anybody can get knocked off at any given Saturday. So, yeah, we've been talking about playoffs, about the LSU Tigers, but I'll tell you, they're right in the mix. I don't think Ole Miss necessarily gave that game away. LSU just did what they had to do at the end, made a few more plays to win. Ole Miss got a chance in overtime just like LSU, but the defense held strong for the Tigers, and I can't say enough about Whit Weeks, but yeah, Blake Baker absolutely deserves all the praise for this game. The way he was getting pressure on Dart, and this is a well-coached Ole Miss Rebels team. I mean, you look at that 3rd and 5, 3rd and 2 at the end of the game. They knew exactly what 4th down call they wanted to go to, got to it before LSU could really substitute anybody else on. But, hey, you make plays at the end of the game. It comes down to the players, the coaches coaching the players play, and LSU was able to get it done. Exciting run now. 6 more SEC games, and LSU clicking on all cylinders on defense. Yeah,
no doubt about it. JP, of course, does a great job for us. Hey, we're going to take a quick time out, and then we come back. Let you see a little bit of the highlights. I've got some Manda spicy tidbits. As we said, Garrett Nussmeier, an award-winning quarterback this week with the SEC. Braden Swinson, the D lineman of the week. Whit Weeks, 18 tackles, and he was just all over the ball. We'll get into that. Goal line stand, a great tackle by Swinson. A lot of tidbits. Hope everybody doing well. And we come back from Tigers Roar talking more LSU and Ole Miss, getting you ready for LSU Arkansas and the rest of the big games right here on Pelican Sports Radio and TV. This is the TV aspect of it. I'll be doing radio on Pelican Sports Radio at 1 o'clock. We do the radio show 1 to 3 every day. Download the Pelican Broadcasting 360 app. Click on the Pelican Sports Radio. When you want to watch the TVs, click onto the TV, and we'll be right back with Tigers Roar, myself and Jonathan Poche, right after this.
Looking for a certified Honda? Get your dream deal now at Team Honda Used Cars. Get 0.99% financing on some of our most popular models, including Accords and Pilots. Honda dreams come true at Louisiana's #1 certified Honda dealer, Team Honda.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
You could be driving a Honda.
Now's the best time to get an award-winning Honda during the Honda Summer Event at Team Honda. Find top performance and unbeatable reliability with our outstanding selection of new Hondas. Save on your new Honda today at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
And we welcome you back. Kind of a cloudy Tuesday morning here in the capital city of Baton Rouge. Oh, by the way, if you like the cooler temps, you're going to wake up. It'll be about 55 when you take your morning work or as you go to church in the morning. And as always, Buddy Songy back here on Tigers Roar. JP, let's talk about some of the things that you and I have been talking about and the best thing that we got out of the BK presser. And look, folks, everybody's got opinions, but JP, I wanted Trez Green to be a big wide. LSU did not have the access to Kyle Parker, who's out for the year, did not have access to Chris Hilton, who has been inexplicably hurt all year, and C.J. Daniels couldn't go. This blows my mind. Trez Green comes in 6'7", 245. He's a gazelle. He's a basketball player, knows how to use his body to shade the defender, catches a touchdown pass. JP, we don't see him again the rest of the game, which was a faux pas by the LSU coaches, but at least they realize they're moving him to wide receiver this week. And I've got to be honest, JP, just from my years of watching, keep him at wide receiver. Let somebody else be your second or third blocking tight end, and they need to recruit some blocking tight ends. But Trez Green has a chance to be really, really a matchup problem for Arkansas this weekend because they don't really know about him, JP.
Yeah, but, man, we talk about it for the whole season, really, about the matchup nightmare he does present to all teams. He's too big for a linebacker. He's too big for a second cornerback, but he outruns linebackers, and he can just manhandle the corners. So it's tough to guard him for sure. He has good hands, and he can run. Yeah, he's going to be a matchup nightmare for wherever they play. But Arkansas, like you said, there's not a lot of tape on this guy. LSU's barely used him, in my opinion, and looked as they have a big dose, especially with the banged-up wide receiver rooms. And LSU, deep at the tight end spot, they could replace him on the line, no problem. I agree. It's good to move him out wide and get some of those matchups that we're looking for.
Listen, folks, we always know how important third down and fourth down are. The LSU defense was on the field 22 third downs. They gave up 50% on 11. They gave up 2 or 3 conversions on fourth down. JP, when you're going up against Lane Kiffin, and look, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss is belly aching, and I understand that. As Trey Harris dropped an apparent touchdown early on, they stopped LSU, stopped them on a fourth down. They made the big plays, but all the belly aching. What is it about Lane Kiffin? What does it make the Ole Miss? You know, Ole Miss came in here arrogant. I cannot tell you the number of people who talked about the Ole Miss fans. LSU fans always get a bad reputation, but JP, this was a recruiting heaven for LSU Saturday night. They had a bunch of kids in. You had the purple rain with the stadium. You had the bracelets and all the light shows and all that. I've had people tell me that stadium was lit like it was 2 years ago. What do you think of the new amenities and the new perks that LSU's brought to Tiger Stadium this year?
Honestly, I thought that was one of the coolest environments I've ever seen at LSU, even going back to, those wars between Alabama and LSU in Tiger Stadium. The lights, as soon as the turnover touchdown, everybody wearing those bracelets, it kept the whole crowd into it. And nobody left their seat. They were back in their seats as soon as they were done with the restroom or going to get another libation. But nobody left early, Bud, man. Everybody was into it. And that overtime win, look, you heard Coach Brian Kelly talk about it. Being on that field, all the lights go out and 100,000 start storming the field. It is an unsettling feeling, according to Coach, and I have to agree with him. I wouldn't want to be an opposing player when LSU scores, Kyron Lacey throws that ball, and the lights go down, and they have 100,000 people running to you. I thought it was really cool, the lights, how they had them moving on, going to the music, really brought a modern feel to Tiger Stadium. Of course, they were celebrating 100 years of Tiger Stadium, so great to get the win, obviously, Saturday night in Death Valley. The lore continues. I mean, the national talking media heads were all like, oh, yeah, it's Saturday night in Death Valley, but is this the same team under Coach Brian Kelly? Will this be the same fans, the same crowd, the same atmosphere? I'll tell you what, it was one of the coolest atmospheres I've seen at LSU since I've been watching the Tigers.
Big recruiting weekend, 5-star wide receiver quoted as saying nobody can touch that atmosphere. A lot of the verbal commitments came in. That makes it a no-brainer to come to LSU. And let me give some shout-outs here, JP. As we go through that last drive, Mason Taylor had a big catch and conversion on 4th down to keep the drive. Look, Nuss will tell you, it wasn't his best game, and I know all of you are still griping about the run game. LSU did not have a great day running the football, and they're going to have to get appreciably better to run the football if they're going to continue to win these close games. But bottom line is that when you start talking about that Ole Miss defense and the pressure, Nuss was not sacked one time. There's still a little bit more of an open window where he's got to read that and take off and pick up the first down. But Mason Taylor making big plays. And, JP, when we talk about a clutch throw, I don't know if you saw the end zone shot that we saw.
Yeah.
But the pass that Nuss threw to Aaron Anderson on 4th down that, of course, tied up the ball game, that was a thing of beauty. It goes into overtime. Were you surprised that Brian Kelly deferred?
I was not
and
surprised.
Went on defense.
No, I was not surprised. I kind of thought Brian Kelly was going to go for 2, except for kick the extra point for the tie. Winning in regulation, that whole game felt like that overtime game against Alabama. LSU was struggling to get back into the game. Mason Taylor with his late game heroics, almost an elbow down away from scoring a touchdown himself. But that throw to Aaron Anderson before he even broke to get open, great anticipation, great location on that throw. And Nussmeier, like you said, didn't have his best game. The interception that he just threw up was a definite head scratcher. I thought officiating played a big role in this game, Bud, man, and I'm not complaining about it, but there were a lot of reviews both for LSU and Ole Miss, so I just want to get your opinion. How do you feel that game was officiated this past Saturday night?
Well, the biggest play of the whole game, I think, is the targeting call on Whit Weeks that was overturned. Now, listen, everybody knows a few years ago back, I think it was in 2018, when Devin White got called for targeting, and everybody knew that he was called for that because it was in the second half of the game before Alabama, and he had to miss the first half. That all being said, he did not I don't think he instigated the hit. Yes, the helmets did collide, but Jackson Dart slid underneath him. So that, to me, is a call. I think everybody in the country thought it shouldn't have been targeting, but I've seen worse calls before. But, this kind of brings up the discussion that everybody's been talking about since the game, and that is, do you pay the penalty of having the game go 4 hours? I don't know how many replays they had. I'd rather the game go longer and they get it right. I thought the officiating was about what you expect. I didn't think either team was favored, but a lot of replays. They took a touchdown off the board for LSU. They didn't call the targeting on Whit Weeks. So I think it all kind of shook out 50-50. But Lane Kiffin, have I told you, folks, all you guys and ladies and kids that wanted Lane Kiffin, 0 championships. He's a champion troller. He's not a champion college football coach. And those folks in Oxford are starting to get a little upset, JP, because they pushed all the chips in the middle of the poker table with all the money that they put into that defense. I think 9 of their starters came from the transfer portal. How about this? Didn't sack Nuss, but couldn't run the football. How do you get that healthy balance, in your opinion?
Bud, man, and I appreciate you doing a great job on desk. I appreciate the folks bearing with us while we go through this transition here to Pelican Studios, away from the restaurant. Of course, it won't be live anymore. We'll be shooting in studio. So I do want to say thank you to all those who came out and saw the Budmine and myself on Tigers Roar out at Old School Barbecue. To answer your question, Budman, how do you keep the balance? It's going to start out front. LSU, a lot of experience on both bookend tackles. I thought Josh Williams really had a great game. Ran the ball hard after contact, caught the ball well at the backfield. They were able to swing past and get Will Campbell out there and get a block for him. How do you keep the balance? Also, the defense has to play complementary football. You can't get behind 3 scores, and then you have to throw the ball on every play. You can't get behind on the sticks. So, yeah, it's a total team effort. I thought Coach Sloan and Coach Hankton did a pretty good job against a very talented Ole Miss team, not just banging their heads against the wall up front, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Garrett Nussmeier did settle in late in that game, and he's obviously the engine that makes the car go. Going to have to keep getting some playmakers on the outside. I want to talk one more about the officiating, Budman, before we move on. The overturned touchdown from Xavier Thomas. I was always under the impression that the call on the field stood unless there was indisputable video evidence to overturn that call. I did not see the ball hit the ground in a way that he didn't have his arm under it to caress it to his body. I didn't think that was inconclusive to be for sure. What do you think about that call, Bum? I think they got it right.
Yeah, I think that was the big thing. And as you hit the nail on the head, it's supposed to be no apparent doubt. But I got to be honest with you. I saw it in both ways. I hate it that everybody's putting so much emphasis about what the ball does after you catch it all the way to the ground, wanting these players. Look, I grew up when if you catch a football and your feet are in, 1 in college, 2 in pro, it's a touchdown. Not all this other BS that's going on, but that, quite frankly, that was a tough call, but you make a great point. How was that indisputable evidence to overturn it? But seeing that they didn't give look, they're not going to always make them right. And, folks, we always talk about middle-aged folks and referees. JP, I think that's probably the most that head referee ran all year long. But it didn't determine the game. And I want to go back to one of the things that you said about the 2-point. Yes, BK went for it for 2 against Alabama 2 years ago. Everybody knows that sequence. Jaden gets in on a 25-yard scamper, and then Mason Taylor catches the game winner to beat him 32-31. This was different, and quite frankly, I am glad that they went on defense first because it gives you an opportunity to know how many points you have to win.
Right.
And just like what happened with Saban years ago when he got here 24 years ago in 2000, and when you see you have a 3-point deficit in OT, it sometimes makes you dial up a more, gambling play. And what a great call, what a great throw, back shoulder to Kyron Lacy. And once again, he had a couple of drops like a lot of the other guys. But for Nuss to make those throws, to Mason Taylor converting on 4th down, to Aaron Anderson converting on 4th down and scoring the touchdown, and then the back shoulder, can't get enough praise for everybody doing it in the clutch. And that is something, as you know, with your son playing high school football, there's a thing called teaching teams how to win. And you can call it ugly, you can call it whatever you want. LSU got the W, and they deserved the win. All of this talk about Ole Miss, they've lost twice already, JP. So it would be a fluke for them to get in the playoffs at this time. That being said, let's go ahead and roll those highlights as we get into a little bit of the good stuff. Out at LSU, celebrating 100 years, and right here, out of the end zone, a big throw to Kyron Lacy to get out of the hole, JP.
Yeah, Kyron Lacy does a great job with his body, really shielding off the defenders. Big body receiver, has a wide catch range, and he has some wheels too. So able to work the middle of the field. Here's LSU's defense getting after Jackson Dart. Braden Swinson's first sack of the game. He's been absolutely dominating LSU's most accomplished pass rusher.
This was the best LSU tackled all year. On Thursday, we'll have an opportunity to talk with Coach Kelly. I'm going to ask him about if during the open date when they went full pads Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and tackled. I think they tackled better, but here's Nuss with a big, once again, conversion to keep a drive going. We're going back and forth with offense and defense, and that's just poor tackling right there, letting their running back get in the end zone.
Yeah, 4th and 1, had him in a closet, had him in an elevator. Somehow he escaped, went all the way for a touchdown. Now it's 10-0 for Ole Miss, and there's that man again. Gary Nussmeier rolling out to his right, finding Xavion Thomas, pushing the ball down the field. LSU now inside the green zone, the red zone, hands it off to play action, actually. Oh, and there's a touchdown. Trey'Dez Green, number 14, the true freshman.
Trey'Dez Green ought to get 25 snaps at least this weekend. Once again, incredible touchdown by Trey Harris. Now, watch this, folks. Let's see. Well, I don't know if you had it, but Trey Harris injured his ankle trying to dunk on the basketball game.
Yeah, and he break the dunk, so definitely stick with football. Here's a play we've been talking about, Xavion Thomas. Thought it was a touchdown, Bud, man.
Yeah.
But they would review it. They have a shot of the review. It would have been a 16-yard TD, as you see it right there on the screen. Unfortunately, the call would be overturned. LSU would have to settle for a field goal from Damian Ramos.
But see, there's the one reason I think they overturned it, and you're looking at it. The nose of the football does go and hit the ground right there. You can't see it from that angle. So, to be honest, I could have lived with both calls on that one.
17-10, LSU gets within a score. Defense back on the field. And here's a good pressure, but able to dump it off. Ball
But
gets
look at the
popped
hitting
out.
there.
Yeah, ball gets popped out by Whit Weeks. LSU will settle for a field goal on offense. And now it's a 4-point ball game, Bud, man.
That was a big play by Whit Weeks. That play was overturned and given a fumble. You had a lot of replays, folks. And here we go. LSU sending the kitchen sink with another sack. Six sacks on the night, JP.
This one by Major Burns, able to get his hand on the ball, knock it loose. Ole Miss does recover. They got penalized for a late shove. And here's that man, Garrett Nussmeier, finding Aaron Anderson, who's having a fantastic year. That was on 3rd and 4. LSU wouldn't get points. It's now 2016. And here's another nice sack by that defense. Major Burns, Greg Penn combining for a sack.
Look, folks, they're tackling better. They're using their pad level. They're putting pressure, and they are still covering a lot better. Here's an open guy, but you knock it away. And I just see a lot more helmets around the football this past week. Here's Jackson Dart, and of course him and Nuss are two of the better quarterbacks in the here we go, Zy Alexander, fantastic INT.
Yeah, that was Zy Alexander on that interception. He's played the ball better than the receiver. Sets up LSU's offense. Here's the head scratcher. Interception by Garrett Nussmeier. Him and the receiver on the wrong page. There would be a flag, but Ole Miss keeps the ball. LSU back on defense. More pressure from Braden Swinson. He gets Jackson Dart down again.
No doubt about it. This kid is making a lot of money here, and I'm going to predict he'll get double-digit sacks. He's at 7. Here we go back with Nuss, and a lot of time, and this is what he's going to have to start doing a little bit more of, taking what the defense gives you. Great spin to get the first down, JP.
And I had to get a shot of Coach Brian Kelly thinking, wow, that was cool. Way to go. Way to go, Garrett Nussmeier. 3rd and 13, huge play with his legs. This is the play of the game right here. Garrett Nussmeier avoids pressure, somehow finds Mason Taylor. He slips. He's down right there. He doesn't know he's down, so he keeps on running. This goes all the way to the end zone. Unfortunately, that elbow was down, but a fantastic play on 3rd and 10 by not only Nussmeier, but by Mason Taylor, not only getting open, but catching and getting the ball upfield.
Mason Taylor is a young man that has been playing really consistent all year long. Once again, we're back here, and Nuss with an excellent route. That's Mason Taylor once again getting the first down as the Tigers are moving. I think this is the last drive where they're going to have to score the touchdown.
Yep.
And here we go. Aaron Anderson. What a beautiful throw and catch. Lane Kiffin doesn't know what's going on because says, can you believe this thing is getting ready to be tied up? That was on 4th and 5. If that completion is not made, look at where he is. He's throwing the ball right now. Look where the ball is and look where the defender is. Watch this gap open up. Nuss had the confidence and the arm strength to get it there. And then, of course, here we go. Once again, Ole Miss trying to get down here at the end of the game for a field goal. And lo and behold, Tigers just were fantastic on defense. They tackled better. They had great pursuit. Look, everybody knows Jackson Dart can run a little bit. But once again, just leaps and bounds. Yes, they gave up 450-plus yards, but bottom line is, here we go. This is OT and a 57-yarder, and this young man had about 5 yards to spare. So it's 26-23, and like 2 years ago, first play, back shoulder to there you go. Good job, Kyron Lacey. You don't need to do anything stupid after the touchdown. And, of course, after that, the fireworks, JP, the fans stormed the field. Cost LSU $250,000, but you know what? It's worth it when you see the LSU brand, when you see that on every show, everybody talking about it, talking about the atmosphere, talking about the wristbands and celebrating 100 years of Tiger Stadium. If there was anything that was appropriate, it should have happened on the night they celebrated 100 years of Tiger Stadium. And, JP, they found a way. I've got to admit something to you folks. I was half empty during the game. I wasn't happy with the early play calling. I thought that the Tigers could have played better on offense. Extremely happy with the way they played on defense. Ole Miss never got that play to separate and get more than 3 points or 4 points or 7 points ahead. And so, JP, to come back and get that one on that particular night, that was just so appropriate. But we'll see if they have that back again. OLLL. sponsored the wristbands. And JP, did you get a trinket from somebody that went to the game and gave you one?
No, I didn't, Bud, man. You got one for me? No, Bud, man, I didn't get a wristband unless you have one for me, my man. But, yeah, great atmosphere. All the recruits that were on site for the game. Storming the field Saturday night in Death Valley. Truly, the sun had set in the western sky, and it became Saturday night in Death Valley. The magic was flowing. The libations were flowing. That crowd was into it. Lane Kiffin looked stunned at the end of the game. Couldn't believe how Ole Miss didn't win. I mean, from the first drive, Ole Miss drops that touchdown. That would have been an easy score for their best player, their best receiver. LSU just claws and fights their way back, sticks around, hangs around, beats up Jackson Dart. That was the change of the game. When LSU started getting pressure on Ole Miss quarterback, they were really unsettled. They were missing some wide open guys down the field because the clock was off inside of his head. He was trying to move that pocket when he didn't have to. Whit Weeks was all over the field making plays, not only in the backfield, sideline to sideline, but you saw in overtime. He almost had that tip pass to cause an interception. Got to give credit to LSU's defense. The atmosphere was absolutely incredible. So all those fans that did make the trip, give yourself a little nod of the cap because y'all made it impossible for LSU to lose that Saturday night, and they came out with the dub.
Yep, no doubt about it. You can go to YouTube and other places to get the replay. It will be replayed on the SEC Network Thursday morning, I think about 5:30 in the morning. Quick timeout. Got to pay some bills. As always, appreciate you tuning in. We come back and get you a little bit of Brian Kelly with his Monday press conference right here on Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Few things in life are as valuable as family and peace of mind, especially when it comes to your final arrangements, and that's where Lee Serio can help. His prepaid funeral plans make sure your life will be remembered exactly the way you want it to. With Lee Serio, no detail is too large or too small. Call Lee or his wife Gretchen at 225-315-6329. Let Lee Serio give you and your family the peace of mind you all deserve.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonCountryClub.com.
If you're ready for a new car that's designed to take you where you want to go, whenever you want to go, now's the time to find out all there is to know about the new Mazda CX-50, named an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus award winner. Save on your new Mazda right now at Team Mazda on Airline.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
And we welcome you back here on a Tuesday morning. A little cloudy, and, it's amazing. The girlfriend had the confidence, JP. I had the glass half empty until it got into overtime. But I guess women notice this stuff, JP. But do you notice how much younger BK looks after a win versus a loss? You ever notice the difference?
Well, I can tell that his skin is certainly a less shade of red. He looks a lot calmer. His eyes look calmer. So, I guess if you add all those together, then, yeah, he does look younger. Everybody looks younger when they're smiling, Bud, man.
And look, Zy Alexander got the game ball. He was phenomenal coming back off an injury. Whit Weeks, the defensive player of the week. Braden Swinson, defensive lineman of the week. And Garrett Nussmeier, the offensive player of the week. Even though he didn't have a great statistical night passing the football, clutch touchdowns. Here's Brian Kelly talking about all of it And it's so nice. We finally got the coach. Michael Barnett or somebody finally got the coach to say, Ole Miss instead of Mississippi. And some of you out there sometimes slide a P in there instead of an M. You know what you call them. Here's BK recapping that big win, 29-26 in OT.
A great night celebrating 100 years at Tiger Stadium. I thought the atmosphere was tremendous. Proud of our team, how they, just kept fighting. They believed they were going to win the football game. I think you probably heard that from, many of the comments from the players that were interviewed after the game. They had a belief that they were prepared and they were going to find a way to win the game. And so, in many ways, the mental is to the physical is 2 is to 1. And when you believe you're going to come out and win these games, you just keep fighting. And closing out games is part of what you need to do. And they closed it out, and game-tying drive, converted 2 4th downs, overcome, some 3rd and 10s. Again, the defense held Ole Miss to no touchdowns in the second half and in overtime. And if you told me going into the game they won't score a touchdown in the second half, and if it went to overtime they wouldn't score a touchdown, I'd say we got a pretty good chance of winning the football game. So, exciting night. And because of that, we had some offensive players of the week. I want to mention Braden Swinson again for the 3rd time has been honored in this league by being the defensive lineman of the week. Whit Weeks was the defensive player of the week, 18 tackles, a sack, a TFL, and a forced fumble. And then Garrett Nussmeier, 337 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and he leads the SEC in passing with 18 touchdowns. So, again, just a great night, big victory, and only our 2nd with many more games in the SEC to come. So we have to keep it in perspective. And the perspective is now we've got to go on the road consecutive weeks against a very solid Arkansas team, a team that, as you know, historically over the past 4 years, we've played games where it's been decided by 3 points or less. So I have a great deal of respect for Sam Pittman, what he's done, the way this team is playing. Great victory last week against Tennessee. They had the week off, obviously, the week before. But again, an annual battle for the boot. And, again, this football team, is led by Taylor Green, the quarterback, big, physical, can run, makes plays with his arm and legs. Again, I think the balance on offense, 480 yards in total offense, rushing, passing. They lead the SEC in 3rd down conversions. This is a formidable offense. Love the tight end, Lucas, the big offensive line. They work well together, and again, that's Coach Pittman's specialty is the offensive line. Defensively, I think that's to me, I think they've done a great job defensively. They're physical up front, big and physical. Landon Jackson, I think many of you know him, played here at LSU. Great motor. I mean, the guy just plays hard. He's a 3-year starter there. He is kind of the energy on that defense. But again, a really well-designed, fundamentally sound. They run to the football, play with a lot of energy. This is going to be a great challenge for us and one where, we'll have to play well on the road at Fayetteville. So with that, we'll open up to questions.
Right here, Coach. You mentioned on Saturday maybe your frustration earlier in the season by knowing what this team's capable of but not being able to finish. Does this unlock anything for your team in terms of being able to see when you do X, you get to see, Y and Z type of thing?
Yeah, I think we're at that point now where, they've set a standard of how to play this game. To me, this has always been about, your preparation is one thing, but you have to flip the switch to performance. You can prepare well and you can look great in practice and you do all the things, but you have to then flip that switch to performance. And I think that this was the first night where we saw, you know, the mental, the physical, the technical, and the tactical, you know, all of them come together as one. And that's the standard in which we need to play. Now they have to think right about Arkansas, you know, in putting that all together each and every week, because that's what's going to be required for them to continue to have positive outcomes.
Brian, I know after the game you were asked about the Aaron Anderson touchdown and you praised the offensive line, but if we could go back and talk about that play, you needed 5 yards or the game's over for all intents and purposes, and you took a shot. Was the play call to take a shot? Was it something Garrett saw in that moment? If you would maybe just walk us through what happened there.
Yeah, so he had other options there. There in many of the offensive structured plays in those situations, as you can imagine, he's going to have an opportunity to get the ball out quickly if something presented itself. He was working through the third piece of the progression, and it's Anderson coming all the way across from the slot to the backside hash, and just anticipated, you know, where he was going to be, and threw the ball expecting him to be there. That's just trusting your teaching, trusting that you know that guy is going to be there. He's thrown that ball so many times that you just let it go. He wasn't there. He wasn't open yet. He threw him open, is what we say. And, you know, that's just a confidence level that he had in the route that has been run so many times. And it was probably 1, 2, that'd be 3 in his progression, you know, moving through it.
Hey, Coach. With the running game, what was Ole Miss doing that made things sort of difficult in that respect for you guys offensively?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. You know, running game, again, is about 5 guys on the offensive line, the tight end, the wide receivers, the running back, and the quarterback, all together in lockstep. And the success or the lack of success, we had 23 running plays, and we break down the running plays as a successful running play is 4 yards or more, or a first down in a critical down. For example, if it's 3rd and 1, you get a yard, that's a successful play. So we had 9 successful plays, 10 unsuccessful plays, and then what we call 4 plays which were a wash. In other words, they were 3.8 yards or 3.9 yards, and we considered them a wash on those plays. The unsuccessful plays were across the board. It was not pushing and cracking a safety. It was the quarterback not getting us into the right play. It was the running back not reading the correct hole and hitting it the right way. It was the tight end not reaching the end instead of blocking it off and not allowing it to stretch on the outside zone. My point being, it's a little bit of everything. We're not in sync with all of our guys coming together as one in the running game. And we just have to do a better job coaching it across all the fronts. In other words, our tight end coach, our running back coach, our offensive line coach, wide receiver coaches, quarterback coach, they all have to do a better job. We all have to do a better job to be more successful. We want about a 65% successful rate in the run game. We're not there, and we've got to get there to be the kind of offense we want to be.
I kind of asked you about this after the game. I'm just wondering, is there a person or persons that's kind of helping to unlock this performance, this execution from the defense? Is it as simple as Zai being available and, you know, that kind of sets everyone else into place, or is it just great individual effort when needed?
Are we talking about one particular person or the entire defense?
Everybody seems to be making plays. Like the front are making plays. Obviously, the linebackers are making plays.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how much that kind of, is it a holistic approach, or is 1 or 2 people really setting all that in motion?
This is the constant application of a defensive, system, a process that has required our players to really think right about what they're doing and doing their job every single play. it's painstaking. It's work. You have to. It takes time, and with a whole new defensive staff, a whole new teaching, a communication system that we would have loved to have been here in week one. It's just taken time for it to really kind of, get to the grassroots, if you will, with everybody. And, the tactical and technical pieces are so much better where we're assignment correct. But what was really evident was, from a game plan standpoint, it was so crucial, and I mentioned this earlier. First down was absolutely crucial in this game, and we were really good on the early downs. And if the ball did get out on the perimeter, we were tackling it. We didn't do that last year. We didn't tackle anybody last year. And so the fundamentals of playing good defense were in place, and then we were able to do things when we got into predictable down and distances, and we sacked the quarterback more times than he's been sacked at any time. And that's really the signs of good defense.
Okay, so there you have BK on his Monday press conference out at LSU yesterday. There will be player interviews this afternoon. The SEC teleconference, Brian Kelly at 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning. Thursday afternoon, we'll have a chance once again to talk with the coach about 4:45. And then LSU at Arkansas on ESPN right around 6:05. JP, some of these games sometimes have a little bit of a delay because of previous games on that network. But before we go to break and wrap up and take our final break, JP, give me 2 or 3 things you think the Tigers will have to do to beat Arkansas.
Tigers have to run the football for one. The offensive line got to exert their will on that defensive line for Arkansas. So Coach Sam Pittman, Coach Brian Kelly has a lot of respect for this guy because his teams play hard. They always play LSU tough. So LSU's got to start fast, got to be able to run the football, and keep playing defense like they've been playing these last couple of weeks, starting with that guy in the middle, number 40, Whit Weeks.
Yep, no doubt about it. Whit Weeks, number 40. Braden Swinson, number 4. Major Burns probably played his best game. Sage Ryan took some punishment and stuck his head in there and tackled well. Great game defensively by the Tigers. Did enough to get it done offensively, and what a crowd, what an atmosphere. Back to wrap it up, our final timeout right here on Pelican Sports TV with another edition of Tigers Roar.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
It's Truck Month at Team Toyota, where you'll find great savings on the reliable and versatile Toyota Tacoma. Or get 1.99% financing on the new Toyota Tundra or $3,000 customer cash. Don't miss these tremendous savings during Truck Month happening now at Team Toyota.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
And wrapping it up here, our final segment on Tigers Roar. Kind of a crazy morning here, and with the clouds, and obviously, JP, Arkansas is not an easy place to get to, whether you're flying or driving, and they always play LSU tough. Of course, we all know that when Perkins was a freshman, he was phenomenal, probably his best game as an LSU player. With Weeks, can you unleash him? And with their quarterback, JP, do you think Blake Baker puts the spy on their quarterback this weekend?
Got to dial some pressure, so yeah, keep that spy, especially when you have a guy like Whit Weeks that can run sideline to sideline. He's a sure tackler. He's bigger than Harold Perkins was for sure, but he doesn't lose a lot with the speed, so he can still cover sideline to sideline. LSU has done a great job picking up for their loss of the great talent of Harold Perkins. Of course, you mentioned it. Exploded on the scene as a freshman against Arkansas. Is it going to be time for somebody else to make a name for themselves nationally? Of course, Braden Swinson's been doing it all season. Whit Weeks has absolutely stepped up and capitalized on his opportunity. So who's going to be the guy that steps up and does help out this defense? Because right now, that's what's driving this team. That's what's driving this winning streak is the defense. The offense has always scored their points. Nussmeier, very talented thrower of the football, but got to be able to stop people in the SEC. It starts up front, and LSU's front seven looking pretty good right about now.
Hey, listen, folks, Bobby Petrino is the offensive coordinator. You know he's had a lot of baggage as a head coach. Had a $15 million motorcycle accident with a blonde many years ago at Arkansas. Well, guess what? He's trying to get back as a head coach. He's doing a great job with Arkansas and play calling. They spent a ton of money on defense in the transfer portal. JP, good quarterback, got to tackle better. And obviously, there's going to be some cooler temperatures for everybody that's going to make the trip to Fayetteville. Bring your sweater and maybe some gloves. First activity of the year. JP, everybody is acclimated to games still being in the 80s and 90s. But it's nice to have a little bit of this football weather the last couple of weekends.
It certainly was. I was out at the ballpark on Friday for a high school game. Nobody was even sweating. It was pretty nice, bud, man. The fall weather is absolutely here. Of course, it's a great time for sports. You have NFL, college baseball, college football. You also have the MLB playoffs taking place right now. A lot of things happening. Of course, LSU moving through that SEC schedule. A big win against Ole Miss this past weekend, but it doesn't get any easier. Coach Sam Pittman's and those Razorbacks, especially in Fayetteville, are going to be a tough task for Coach Brian Kelly.
Real quick, wrapping it up, folks. Big games this weekend. Alabama at Tennessee. 2 years ago, they got beat in overtime on the field goal kick. Of course, LSU at Arkansas, 6:05, and Georgia at Texas, 6:45 kick, 6:30 TV on ABC. JP, final predictions from you. I've got LSU and Arkansas coming down to the wire. Might come down to a field goal kick. What say you, JP?
Yeah, but man, I like that. It's going to be a close game. Arkansas always plays LSU really tough. Used to be later on in the season, but I like LSU by 7 in Fayetteville.
Hey, as always, we appreciate all of you tuning in. Once again, check out all our shows on YouTube. Pelican Sports TV with Tigers Roar. See you next week, everybody.